go over how to hold your leash to practice sit-stay with your dog. A lot of times, a big thing that I notice with people when they're struggling with getting their dog to stay in a sit, especially like if you have a really hyper dog that's used to not listening to you, they do great with their trainer, but they come home and they're just wiggling all over the place. A lot of times it's two things. It's how you're holding your leash and your emotions, because it's frustrating. So when you have a really slack leash and you're not giving your dog any guidance with your leash at all, nope, sit. They're not listening and you're getting frustrated, you're just snowballing on top of each other and you're making the issue worse and worse and worse. So your leash is your lifeline. I know a lot of people, especially after training, you want your dog off leash trained, but your dog's not listening to you as well as they listen to the trainer. Another thing with that, like I said already, is that your dog is used to not listening to you. So you're going to have to do the foundational work. You're going to have to use your leash, and you're going to have to let your dog understand that what they've done with their trainer applies to you now as well. So the first week, maybe 2 weeks, you are baby stepping. You are using your leash. Utilize that leash. It's a very great tool for communicating with your dog what you want. Don't go ahead and try to get rid of it right away. Let's make sure our dogs understand what we want and what we mean. Then we can start weaning off the leash. Boss is pretty new in training. He knows leash pressure for a couple of commands. We just started e-collar, so right now I'm only doing leash pressure with him. So I want to get him back in the sit since he laid down. We're talking about sit. So while we're talking about the leash, this is a very long leash. I'd want to have, if I have the end of the leash, I don't really have any control over him outside of keeping him from getting more than about 6 feet away from me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold my leash over once. Hey buddy, what are you doing? I'm going to fold my leash over once. And then I'm going to fold it over again. So I have slack on the leash. I'm not creating any tension on his collar at all, but it is loose enough that if, like right here, I had to lean over so he didn't put any tension on his collar because he's just laying down. So it's short enough that if I need to do a correction, my arm's not yanking around all up here, but it's also loose enough that I'm not doing any tension on his leash. So I'm going to walk him around and we're going to go over sit. Let's go. So his leash is actually still a little too long. It's a long leash and he's kind of a tall dog. We're going to come back. As I'm saying sit, I'm going to pull up on his leash because I want him placed beside me. I don't want him swinging in front of me. So when dogs are first learning the commands, as I'm stopping walking, I'm pulling up for the sit. Now, all of my commands are also an automatic stay. He should not break that command unless I tell him something else to do. So what I'm going to do to practice him staying is I'm going to get slack on the leash. I'm going to put my left hand right here. I don't care if you use your left or your right hand. Just I have one hand above him with slack on the leash. It's moving around. And my other hand over here is holding the leash so it can't drop out of my hands. What I'm going to do is as I walk around him, anytime he breaks the command, I'm pulling up on the leash. Now the reason why I have my hand right here is so I can back away and kind of create more slack and more distance, but if he breaks command, I can easily do this and pull up. And you see, I'm not like jumping on him really hard to get him to sit. I don't want you doing that. I just want you very casually, right there. I just slid my hand down and pulled up for the sit. I just want it to be casual like that. If he chooses to lay down, that's fine. He's tired, we've been working for a while, but the command is sit. So I'm just gonna walk around him. He's not really giving me any way. Okay, so he's still in that sit. So I'm gonna walk around. And I actually haven't had to do any more corrections with him. Like I said, we're kind of at the end of our training session. He's getting tired. But I want you to work on your dog work with your dog like this if you're trying to practice getting them to stay in the sit. That way you do have that control, because what we're wanting to do is the moment that they break command, we want to do the correction or the interruption, whatever you want to call it. If we wait till he's already walking off way over here, you're not communicating. He has forgotten that he got up from that command, and you're not really communicating anything other than, hey, I'm mad at you because you walked away. So you want to do it the second that they make the mistake. So I'm going to do it one more time. Nope, sit. So right there, he got up. It's just no sit. And then you just go back to what you're doing. And when they're sitting for a while and they're being good, you can just fold your leash back up in your hand. Let's go. And go move on to the next thing. Sit. Good boy. I like to practice my commands on walks. So let's say all your dog really knows is how to heel beside you and sit. When you're going on your walk, change direction so they're having to pay attention to follow you. Put them in a sit, walk around them, make sure they can hold it while you're moving. You can put them in a sit and just play on your phone. Either way, while you're on your walk, you're practicing whatever commands your dog knows. That way they're using their mind and their body. And when they come home, you have a dog who's more tired and relaxed. This is a go, 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 high energy kind of dog. We walk to the park in a nice calm heel. I practice our automatic sit, which means he sits every time I stop, a couple of times. When we came to the park, we ran through some commands. It's been not quite an hour, it's been about 45 minutes, and he's already tired and relaxed, and we could go home, practice place, and he would be a relaxed dog. But to not try to explain too many things in a video that's just supposed to be about sit, that is how you work on sit with your leash when the dog already understands leash pressure, be it a prong collar, choke chain, regular slip collar, whatever collar your dog understands leash pressure with. That's how you get them back into a sit to practice them staying there while you move around. Let's go.